Where do I even begin? Well, we know that from what we've been told by the Foreign Affairs Minister, the U.S. has assured Ghana of non-interference with the deportation, but without prejudice to the ongoing judicial processes. So we know that. So whatever happens, the U.S. is going to allow deportation if the judicial processes lead to deportation.
Right.
It's a bit sad that a former minister of this country has allowed himself to be branded as an legal alien. I think that's unfortunate because we expect better of the people who we nominate into the highest offices of this nation. So going back to the first question that you put to Susan, I think it's embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing because, quite apart from the personal embarrassment, I think it's not a good place for us to be in terms of having someone who has held one of the highest offices in this country to be in the situation that he finds himself in. And as we've been told again from the embassy, it's being treated as a special case, precisely because of the position that he occupied formally. So whether we like it or not, there's a Ghana angle there, and it's just not a good look. So for me, I feel it's the right direction of travel for the government to be going after people who are deemed to have done certain things which they need to come back to explain to the people of Ghana because they were custodians of, in Ken's case, custodian of, yes, our public purse. And I think for all public office holders, you must now know, even if it's trite, even if it's something that you knew before, that from the minute you sit in that office, you are accountable to the people of Ghana for whatever it is that you are superintending over, because it's not yours, it's ours, And so you should be prepared to account for it, whether during your tenure or after your tenure, without being seen to be running away from that responsibility. Accountability to the people of Ghana in public office is non-negotiable. And if you are not prepared to be accountable, then don't hold the office. Because nobody forces anybody to hold public office. The president will offer it to you, and then you are free to say, thank you, Excellency, or no, I think this is too much for me. I'm not prepared to allow this kind of public scrutiny and intrusion into, encroachment into my personal life. So please, thank you.
You almost always will lose your privacy.
You will lose your privacy. And so you cannot eat your cake and have it. You cannot hold public office and say, but this one, dear, no, it's not acceptable. So if you can't do it, don't take the position, period. Right. So for me, it is sad. It is the other side of the embarrassment is the FBI's involvement. I mean, we thought it was just a simple immigration matter. The FBI, I mean, they deal with federal offenses. And given the way the U.S. is structured, there are states, the state is actually almost self-contained, if you like. And so there are state offenses and there are federal offenses. So if the FBI is involved, it makes one very worried that, why should the FBI be, because ICE, they have the power to arrest, they have the power to detain, they have the power to go to court to do their own representation, and they have the power to deport once they get that final deportation order from a court over there. So why the FBI? So that is a big question mark. And I guess it's unfolding, and these are preliminary comments, so I'll park my comments here.
But why should that come to you as a surprise that FBI may be involved? For a person that the Attorney General has told us that has been under investigation by the Office of the Attorney General, and the Attorney General has had, interactions with U.S., Department of Justice officials. There are offshore dealings that are also under his microscope. And then before the Attorney General came into office, we had the OSP, which was also doing its investigations, which this minister was involved, not only this minister, with his aide, who is also, Ghanaian and U.S. citizen, who we are also looking to return. And they have filed an extradition process for them to be brought back to the country. In fact, a red alert or notice was issued, which I think is the one that prevented Ken Ofori-Atta from traveling around the place, even though he had valid visas for other countries, including the UK. Right. So why are you surprised?
Because, the offshore element is something that came as a surprise to us. Not entirely, because obviously, if you are, and I'm not saying Ken is guilty, because I'm not a court of competent jurisdiction, I'm not a juror on any matter, but if you have the kind of financial nous that he has, and you are minded to hide money, then of course you will do it offshore. So from that point of view, it's not entirely surprising that they were looking offshore as well, if they believed that he may or may not have committed certain offenses.
Okay.
But to hear that this is actually something that's being investigated, that international investigators are involved, and I mean, that takes it to a whole different level.
Right.
And that is where the surprise comes in.
Yes, Doc.